Welcome to Life Stories 1. If you enjoy stories about navigating life's unexpected turns, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode. My name is Liam Walker. I'm a 44-year-old commercial architect in Charleston, South Carolina. I was sitting in my home office, staring at an email from my wife of 12 years, Chloe. She was supposedly at a yoga retreat in Palm Springs. The timestamp showed 11:22 p.m. her time. "I've moved your inheritance into my personal account. It's better this way." Attached was a blurry photo, her and some guy with a beard on a balcony, wine glasses, a sunset. Her smile was different. I knew then this wasn't just about money, it was a meticulously planned departure. But what Chloe didn't realize was I wasn't entirely unprepared. I met Chloe 15 years ago at an industry conference in Charlotte. She was vibrant, ambitious, launching her wellness brand and looking for an architect. I was 5 years into my career, eager for creative projects. We clicked instantly, marrying within 3 years and building a life in Charleston, near my firm's headquarters. We bought a beautiful Craftsman on Trad Street, the kind with the wide, welcoming porch she'd always dreamed of. Kids weren't in her plan. "The business is my baby," she'd often say, and I respected that. My buildings were my legacy. For 8 years, life was good. I designed, she expanded her empire of organic products and wellness retreats. We traveled, hosted dinner parties, the picture of a successful couple. Then my Aunt Eleanor, who had raised me in Charlotte after my parents died when I was 14, got sick. Cancer, aggressive, and swift. I took a 6-month partial leave to care for her. Chloe visited only twice, claiming hospitals depressed her. I didn't push it. When Eleanor passed, she left everything to me, a surprising sum of $587,000. She'd invested wisely. Chloe seemed taken aback too, suddenly very interested in our financial planning. "We should use it to expand the business," she suggested one evening, meaning her business. "I need to think about what Eleanor would want," I replied. That was the first hairline crack. More followed. Chloe's research trips became longer and more frequent. Her calls grew shorter, often with hushed voices in the background that went silent if I asked who was there. Our neighbor, Mark, stopped by one afternoon while Chloe was supposedly at a team retreat in California. "Saw someone dropping Chloe off late last week," he mentioned casually. "Thought you were out of town." I had been at a 3-day conference in Boston. I thanked him for the banana bread his wife sent over, filing the information away. Then came the changed passwords on our banking apps and conversations about finances that would end abruptly if I asked for specifics. One night, I found her in the backyard, voice low, laughing in a way I hadn't heard in years. "Just Patricia from the studio," she said, coming inside. Patricia, who'd left the business 8 months prior. The ground was crumbling beneath us. The unease I'd been feeling for months solidified about 2 weeks before Chloe left for what would be her final retreat. Greg, my firm's financial advisor, called. "Liam, someone's been trying to access information about your trust accounts," he said, his voice tinged with concern. "They used your personal information, birth date, mother's maiden name, but couldn't get past the security protocols." "Which accounts?" I asked, though a cold certainty was already settling in. "The inheritance funds," Greg confirmed. "They tried using the last 4 of your social but failed the security questions." I thanked him, a knot tightening in my stomach. That very evening, Chloe approached me, a picture of casual innocence. "Liam, darling, don't you think it's silly to have so many separate logins and passwords for our accounts? We should consolidate everything. It would be so much simpler." She didn't meet my eyes. "You're probably right," I said, keeping my voice even. "I'll talk to Greg about it." The next morning, instead of calling Greg, I drove the few hours to Charlotte and met with Rebecca Stone. Rebecca had been Aunt Eleanor's attorney for 20 years and had become mine after Eleanor passed. I laid out my concerns, fact by fact, no emotion, no accusations. "Your aunt was wise to suggest the irrevocable trust structure," Rebecca said thoughtfully after I finished. The money is protected, Liam, regardless of what happens in your marriage. And if someone attempted to move those funds without authorization, her expression hardened. That would be attempted financial fraud, with clear legal consequences. I nodded. Let's document everything, I said. And I want to set up a monitoring system that alerts us to any attempts to access, move, or change anything related to the trust. When I returned to Charleston, Chloe was already packing for Palm Springs. She gave me a brief, distant kiss. I might extend this one, she said at the door. Really dive deep into the practice. I helped load her bags, watched her drive off, then went straight to my laptop. I didn't need to snoop through her emails or texts. I opened our shared cloud storage, navigating to a folder labeled Home Renovation Ideas, a project we'd once excitedly discussed. There, I found what I instinctively knew would be there. Documents she'd overlooked. Screenshots of my accounts, copies of statements, detailed notes on transfer protocols, even a photo of a whiteboard with figures scrawled on it. My inheritance amount, minus a 20% deduction labeled Transfer Fee Explanation. She'd been meticulously planning this for months. After Chloe's damning email arrived, the one with the blurry photo and the brazen declaration of theft, I waited exactly 24 hours. No frantic calls, no desperate texts, just cold, methodical action. My first step was to forward Chloe's email to Greg, my financial advisor, and Rebecca Stone, my attorney, with a concise note, documentation as requested. Both confirmed receipt, no further explanation needed. They understood the gravity. Next, I contacted Michael Davies, a divorce attorney Rebecca had recommended months prior during one of our hypothetical discussions about asset protection. His secretary scheduled an immediate meeting for that afternoon. Around noon, my phone buzzed. A text from Chloe. "Did you get my email?" I didn't respond. Minutes later, another. "Yes, that's all you have to say?" Silence was my only reply as I drove to Michael's downtown office. Rebecca joined us via video conference. The attempted transfer, even if unsuccessful, creates a significant paper trail, Michael explained, his eyes scanning the documents Rebecca had already forwarded. Several elements work in your favor, Liam. The funds were inherited, never commingled with marital assets, and properly maintained in an irrevocable trust structure. And now, he paused, looking directly at me, she has openly admitted to attempting unauthorized access. What's next? I asked, my voice steady. We file for divorce immediately, Michael stated. Citing financial misconduct, South Carolina law is clear when fraud is involved. I signed the paperwork before leaving his office. At 4:30 p.m., my phone rang. Chloe's name flashed on the screen. I answered. You're being childish, Liam, she said, her voice sharp, dispensing with any greeting. This doesn't have to be difficult. I agree, I replied calmly. Then let's be adults about this, she pressed. The money is already moved. Fighting it will just drain more through legal fees. Instead of engaging, I asked, Where are you staying, Chloe? She paused, momentarily thrown. What does that matter? Just curious where home is now. Liam, focus, she snapped. We need to discuss the financial arrangements. I'm having my lawyer draw up settlement papers. It's better for both of us to keep this clean. Who's your lawyer? I asked. Daniel Fisher. He's already reviewing everything. I jotted down the name. That's helpful. Thank you. Liam, are you even listening? I'm trying to make this go smoothly for us both. You said something similar already, I replied, my voice neutral. I appreciate your concern for making this easy. Another pause. What are you doing? She asked, a hint of uncertainty creeping in. Nothing yet. Getting used to the idea, I guess. I could almost hear her relax, misinterpreting my calm as resignation. It's for the best, she said, her tone softening. We've been moving in different directions. This is cleaner. You're right, I agreed. Cleaner is better. After we hung up, I called Michael back with Daniel Fisher's information. Then, I sent a single text to Chloe. Taking some time to process. My attorney will reach out when I'm ready to discuss details. Her reply was immediate. Don't wait too long. Papers will be ready by Friday. Friday. Perfect. The following morning, Daniel Fisher, Chloe's attorney, called. His tone was professionally cautious, yet carried an undercurrent of someone expecting a straightforward process. Mr. Walker, I'm representing your wife, Chloe, in your separation. She's indicated you're amenable to a simple settlement. Is that what she said? I asked, keeping my voice level. A slight hesitation from his end. She mentioned you understood the situation. Which situation would that be specifically, Mr. Fisher? Another pause, longer this time. The division of assets, Mr. Walker, including certain recent inheritance funds. Has she shown you documentation of these funds? I pressed. She's provided statements, he said carefully. Recent ones, from approximately 3 months ago, and she indicated transfer confirmations are forthcoming from the bank. I see, I responded. Has she also mentioned the legal structure of that inheritance? The irrevocable trust established by my late aunt, which makes what she's claiming to have done a legal impossibility. Silence. Mr. Fisher, I continued, I suggest you verify the information you've been given very thoroughly before proceeding. My attorney, Michael Davies, will be sending relevant documentation to your office today. After hanging up, I drove to Riverwood Bank, where Chloe and I had held our joint personal accounts for years. Harold, the branch manager, had handled our mortgage refinancing 2 years prior and greeted me warmly. I need to review recent activity on all our joint accounts, Harold, I explained once we were in his office. He pulled up our information, his initially pleasant expression shifting as he scrolled through screen after screen. Liam, he said gravely, there have been significant withdrawals from your joint checking and savings over the past 3 months. How significant? He turned the monitor towards me. A pattern of regular transfers stared back, from our joint accounts to an account number I didn't recognize. Small amounts at first, $2,000 here, $3,500 there, then escalating. The most recent, a staggering $47,000, was just 2 weeks ago. This receiving account, I asked, pointing to the unfamiliar number. Is it with Riverwood? Harold checked. No, it's external. Redwood Credit Union. I'd never heard of it. Can you print the transaction history for the past 6 months? While waiting, a text from Michael Davies flashed on my phone. Fisher requesting an urgent meeting. Tone significantly changed. By the time I returned to Michael's office, printouts in hand, the picture was sharpening. The Redwood Credit Union account had been opened 8 months ago, solely in Chloe's name. The address listed? An apartment in Palm Springs, California. Total withdrawals from our joint accounts, $178,250. She's been building a new life for a while, Michael observed grimly. While still having full access to mine, I added. As we were reviewing the bank records, Michael's assistant announced Daniel Fisher was on the line. I've received the trust documentation, Fisher said, his voice tight, all previous confidence gone. My client may have misrepresented certain aspects of the financial situation, including her ability to access or transfer those specific funds. That appears to be the case, Michael replied coolly. Given this new information, I believe it would be beneficial for all parties to discuss a revised approach. My client has already filed for divorce, Mr. Fisher, Michael stated firmly, citing financial misconduct. The documentation speaks for itself. After the call, Michael looked at me. He'll drop her as a client by end of day. No legitimate attorney wants to be associated with this. What about the $178,250 she did take from the joint accounts? I asked. We'll include it in the filing, document everything. Let her explain to a judge why she established a hidden residence and systematically drained marital assets. I nodded, a hollow feeling spreading through me. This wasn't impulsive. It was a calculated betrayal, planned while she lived a lie beside me. There's one more thing, I said. I need to know who he is, the man in the photo. Not for confrontation, but to understand the full scope of her deception. That evening, a courier delivered an envelope, a formal letter from Daniel Fisher, withdrawing as Chloe's legal counsel. Minutes later, my phone lit up. Chloe. I let it go to voicemail. 3 more calls, then a text. What the hell did you do? I didn't respond. Later, an email from Rebecca Stone. The trust company's investigation confirmed multiple unauthorized access attempts over 3 months, all logged, with IP addresses tracing back to Palm Springs. They'd referred it to their legal department for potential criminal investigation. Another text from Chloe. We need to talk now. I replied, through your new attorney, when you have one. Her next text. You've completely overreacted. I was angry. I didn't actually move anything. That's not what the access logs show, I typed back. A long pause. What access logs? Instead of answering, I sent one question. Who is he? 20 minutes passed. Finally, this isn't about him. Name? Another long pause. Ethan. Ethan Vance. But he's not important. I searched the name. Ethan Vance, yoga instructor, Palm Springs, former investment broker. The pieces were all falling into place. The next morning, I met with Mark, my neighbor. The guy you saw dropping Chloe off, I began. Would you recognize him again? Mark nodded. Tall, beard, drives a gray Tesla. I showed him the blurry photo from Chloe's email. He squinted. Yeah, that's him. He was here maybe 5, 6 times while you were traveling. He readily agreed to provide a notarized statement. At 11 o'clock a.m., Michael Davies called. We've got a new development. Chloe's hired Peter Bryant. Bryant was a shark, known for aggressive, expensive divorce litigation. He's requested an emergency hearing for Monday morning, Michael continued, to contest the financial misconduct claim. Says his client has evidence all financial decisions were discussed and agreed upon. 3 days. Let's give Mr. Bryant something substantial to review before then, I said. That afternoon, Michael had a comprehensive package delivered to Bryant's office. The trust access logs, the Riverwood bank records detailing the systematic withdrawals, the lease for the Palm Springs apartment in Chloe's name, Mark's notarized statement about Ethan Vance's visits, and, crucially, the screenshots from Chloe's home renovation ideas folder revealing her notes on how to access my accounts and siphon the inheritance. By 5 o'clock p.m., Peter Bryant called Michael, his tone markedly different, requesting an urgent meeting to discuss settlement options. He's seen enough, Michael told me. Bryant offered a clean split. She keeps the $178,150 she already took from the joint accounts, makes no further claims. You keep everything else, including the house and the full inheritance. Counter, I said without hesitation. She returns half of what she took from the joint accounts, $89,125, and she signs a comprehensive non-disclosure agreement. In return, I don't pursue the fraud angle with the authorities regarding the inheritance. Michael raised an eyebrow. You could get more, Liam. I don't want more, I said. I want this done. On the morning of what would have been our emergency hearing, Chloe and Peter Bryant arrived at the courthouse to find Michael Davies waiting with a settlement agreement already prepared. No contentious hearing, no public spectacle. I waited in a consultation room while Michael calmly explained the terms. Chloe would transfer $89,125 back within 24 hours. She would make no claims against the inheritance or any other assets. She would sign the NDA. In exchange, no fraud charges. Through the glass, I saw Chloe's face as Michael handed Bryant the evidence file, photographs, statements, account logs. Her expression shifted from defiance to shock, then to something resembling defeat. She glanced towards me, then quickly away. Bryant reviewed everything, whispering to her. She nodded slowly. 10 minutes later, they entered. "My client accepts the terms," Bryant stated. Michael slid the agreement across the table. Chloe signed, her hand shaky. I signed my portion, then slid a separate envelope to her. "What's this?" she asked, her first words to me. "Passwords," I said. "Cloud storage, house alarm, everything you might need for whatever you left behind." Her eyes finally met mine, searching. She found no anger, no triumph, just a quiet finality. "It was never about just the money, Chloe," I said softly. "That would have been simpler." Bryant guided her out. She never looked back. 6 months later, I sold the Trad Street house. The new owners, a young family, loved the porch. I moved to a loft downtown and, with Rebecca Stone's help, restructured Aunt Eleanor's inheritance into a foundation supporting architectural scholarships for kids who'd lost parents. One afternoon, an unmarked envelope arrived. Inside, a cashier's check for $89,125, the amount agreed upon in our settlement, and a brief, unsigned note. The rest of what I owed. Not just the money. I deposited it into the foundation. That evening, my phone buzzed. "Greg, dinner still on for 7? Bringing that architect I mentioned." I texted back, "On my way." Sometimes, the strongest response to betrayal isn't revenge. It's rebuilding. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey with Liam on Life Stories 1. We hope his story of navigating betrayal and finding a path to rebuild resonated with you. If you want to hear more compelling narratives about life's twists and turns, please make sure to subscribe to Life Stories and like this video. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care.